I think my family, my ancestors would have rollen over in their grave. They were very patriotic. They loved this country and what it stood for. They believed that transgender, gays, that sort of thing was all a very personal issue. They love this country because it is a free country and people are allowed to do what they want. But it was never meant to be on a beer can and never meant to be pushed in people's faces. So they would have they would have never marketed their brands that way. As you know, AB was one of the greatest marketers ever in any business. And they were incredible with what they came out with: the Clydesdales, the frogs, the lizards, all the different promotions they had, all the different advertising they had. And the last thing they would have done was to get as controversial as they did, as InBev has with Dylan Mulvaney advertising.
Okay, so Bud Light and AB Inbev, their parent company, they're in a heap of trouble. They continue to suffer the woes of their decision making. There has been an enormous dip in sales, and the company is getting to the point. Last month they had to lay off people, and now they're at the point where they're selling off some of their brands, some of their smaller brands. They sold off 8 brands. So they're trying to trim some of the fat. They got rid of these brands because they've lost so much money, hundreds of millions of dollars. And even the distributors, their own distributors who've worked with them forever, they've lost confidence. These distributors are looking at the numbers. It's been 4 months since this whole thing started. Sales drop, continue to drop. And the distributors are saying, yeah, this is the new norm. These sales aren't going to recover, even though the CEO of Anheuser-Busch tries to tell them to just keep holding on. But let's look at the sales chart here. So this chart here shows week by week from April through June, and we can see this whole thing started at the beginning of April, and we can see a dramatic fall in sales. And this compares the week 2023 to the week in 2022, so year over year sales. So it gets to a point where it slows down a little bit because most of the people who've heard about it, they've already decided and they're not buying anymore. So you're leveling off, and eventually it'll plateau to a point, but it's going to be much less than the norm, what they're used to. So the distributors are saying, yeah, this is what you're going to sell. You're going to be 30%, 30% below what you expected. A 30%, you'll want to be above where you are. A positive 10, positive 15, they're a negative 30 in a percentage of sales. So it's pretty pathetic. And they're getting desperate. They laid off 350 people. But this company, AB Inbev, they continue to pander. They're trying to say, okay, we don't like those people. We hate those conservatives. We hate their worldview. But we need them to spend money with us. We need their money because these freaks, these activist freaks that we try to appease, they can't generate the type of money that the people we hate can. So let's go back and pander to those people. So you saw the Clydesdale ad. You saw Travis Kelce doing the grunting commercial. Bud Light tweeted during the U.S. women's team soccer game, trying to say, hey, we're patriotic, but they don't realize that a lot of people don't even like that soccer team. But that's a different story. So they've been trying to do all this pandering, and they're teaming up with veterans now. So they've teamed up with Foes of Honor. Foes of Honor is a charity that gives scholarships to the family members of fallen soldiers and to disabled veterans. This is how far and how disgusting this pandering has become. They're going over here to Gold Star families, putting their logo next to Foes of Honor and saying, look at that. We like the military. We're Americans. We're patriots. So they're basically trying to use these people to restore their image. But it didn't work. Budweiser actually went to an event and embarrassed themselves, made an absolute mockery of themselves while they were trying to pander. So let's take a look.
Here we are, Sturgis, Bud Light tent midweek. Any improvement? That's what we hope. Folds of Honor is here. The Bud Light tent, we're hoping business picks up a little bit, but guys, midweek, oh my goodness, wow. Guys, are we seeing any uptick in business here? A little bit, okay, okay, all right, let's see. Hey, let's keep it positive, right? Let's keep it positive. Maybe by the end of the week, what you're doing. We appreciate the hardworking employees. We covered this early on in the week, guys. Take a look. Sturgis is absolutely jam-packed. The Harley tent is packed. The BMW tent is packed, but Budweiser having a tough go. Having a tough go.
So yeah, that's a damn shame. I mean, just a damn shame, and maybe they'll get it one day. So let's get into some numbers. Let's look at this New York Post article about how much money this company's been losing. Anheuser-Busch InBev felt the sting of the Bud Light boycott, reporting a 10.5% drop in revenue and a nearly 30% plunge in core profit in the U.S. during the second quarter, and has lost nearly $40 billion in value. How is the CEO still there? $40 billion? $40 billion. And this man is still there. You should see heads rolling. The entire board of directors. They should be flaming. In fact, they need to be gone. Who's allowing these decisions? This is full-blown crisis mode. Yet the Belgian, so when they do all that pandering, showing American flag, trying to talk about, yeah, we're a true American company, yet the Belgian-based beer giant continued to bury his head over the ill-fated tie-up with trans influencer Dylan Mulvaney that has seen Bud Light on the precipice of losing its 2-decade reign as a top-selling beer in the U.S. Yeah, this is insane. Now let's go down here. The fury spilled over to Anheuser-Busch's other popular brands like Budweiser and Busch Light, causing the company to suffer a revenue hit of $395 million in North America for the quarter. Can you imagine having that on your resume? Yeah, I was in charge of this company. I was the VP of marketing, and we lost damn near $400 million in 3 months. Our sales should have been this amount, but we were hundreds of millions of dollars below. So please hire me. At least we got a good ESG boost, didn't we? This is insane. 28.2% plunge compared to the same time a year ago. So I can't say I feel sorry at all, because they did this themselves. So let's go over and look at this other article. So yeah, they're selling out these craft beers, 8 beer brands. Clearly because the craft beer industry is in decline 2023. We see that craft breweries around the country aren't doing so well as a whole. So Bud Light is saying, yeah, we can dump these off to you. They sold them to a weed company, a company that's primarily known for cannabis products. So Bud Light's like, yeah, we'll take some cash because we need it, because we're trying to avoid more layoffs. So we just take the cash right now so we can make payroll to more people, because if we have to lay off more people, that's going to be even more devastating to us. And that's going to prove the naysayers right. Even though we know we're right, we know they're going to lay off more people. This is just delaying the inevitable. So let's see what's going on here. Anheuser-Busch InBev is selling 8 beer and beverage brands to cannabis company Tilray Brands just 1 month after the beer giant laid off hundreds of his U.S. workers amid a slump in U.S. sales of Bud Light. Anheuser-Busch will sell Shock Top, Blue Point, Breckenridge Brewery, Red Hook Brewery, Highball Energy, and other brands to the cannabis company for an undisclosed amount, Tilray Brands announced. The sale, which is expected to close this year, will be paid in cash. Payroll includes breweries and brew pubs associated with the brands, as well as current employees. So some of these employees, they're probably relieved because, one, like I said, the craft industry isn't doing well. And two, these smaller brands, they were taking the hits because of Bud Light. So they're at these separate brands. Bud Light decides to act an absolute ass and slip their customers, and you know what they did with the transgender thing. And now you work at Shock Top, you work at Blue Point. Now you getting hit. Now your job's on the line. Like, what the hell? So I'm pretty sure a lot of these people are happy to be away from Anheuser-Busch because they're an absolute disaster. Andy Thomas, president of high-end business unit at Anheuser-Busch, told the Wall Street Journal that Tilray first expressed interest in the brands and breweries earlier this year. So Tilray came in at the perfect time. Right when these sales started plunging, they were like, hey, you got some of those breweries, some of those brands you want to sell? We got some money. So now what they're trying to do is they're trying to deny. No, it had nothing to do with this. This sale had nothing to do with AB Inbev losing $40 billion in market cap, $400 million in sales loss over the last quarter. It had nothing to do with that. We were just going to do this anyway. Even though y'all didn't even approach them until after it happens. So Bud Light, Tilray, they still can't be honest with us. They're trying to act like, oh, nothing was wrong, because Bud Light, they also did a survey. So even though they lost all this money, all this market cap value, they're saying, well, look at this survey. The survey says most Americans still like our beer. Stop it. Just stop it. So this disaster, this train wreck is just going to continue. These fools are not going to admit that they were completely wrong, and that they need to find some type of way to reverse course and stop trying to appease a bunch of woke activist freaks. They need to find a way to detach themselves from this whole ESG crap, and maybe Bud Light to recover a little bit, but who knows? So that's part 6. What's going to happen in part 7? I'm excited to find out. Let me know what you think. Leave me your thoughts below. Thanks for watching.
Do you remember that one night when we fell in love? What we had felt so right.